Those are anti-Putin, anti-Russia protests in Belgrade, Serbia, right there. Hundreds of thousands of people on the streets protesting at Putin and his ally there, the president, a year after the government was accused of committing fraud in parliamentary elections. People aren't taking it there anymore. Same thing we're seeing in Tbilisi, the capital of the country of Georgia, where there's been protests of over 100,000 people there standing up against the Putin-backed regime. The Putin-backed regime in Syria has fallen. Putin looking weak around the world right now. So Putin has summoned Donald Trump. How do we know that? Donald Trump said it at one of these right-wing conventions because Putin's on the ropes. He needs Donald Trump. He needs Trump to do his bidding, and Trump seems to be willing to do it. So Donald Trump announced the following. President Putin said he wants to meet with me as soon as possible. That's what Trump said at a recent right-wing convention. Notice how Donald Trump talks about meeting with Putin, while at the same time Trump makes posts about taking over Panama and the Panama Canal, saying that Greenland should be owned by the United States. It's of vital importance to own Greenland, thus offending Denmark, one of our allies in NATO. But Trump doesn't know that. Trump saying that Canada is going to be the 51st state. Trump doesn't say anything like this about Vladimir Putin. He goes, no, Putin wants to meet with me, everybody. He announces that. How weak is that? Meanwhile, on all of Russian TV, they're talking about how all of the Kremlin insiders are talking about how Putin is getting ready for that meeting to further manipulate Donald Trump. And it's always important that you watch what's going on in Russian state TV because it's directed by Putin. He controls every aspect of it. And the hosts of these shows are basically like their version of Sean Hannity, although they're almost more like official people in Russian government. They're speaking on behalf of Putin, and that's what it's known. These are very powerful, almost oligarch-type people in Russia who are the hosts of their shows. So just I want you to see what they're saying there. Julia Davis, she does a great job chronicling this. I want to give her a big shout out because she finds these clips of what's going on in Russia. And I want to share it to you as this is Russian propaganda. I want to give you that disclaimer. And this is disinfo. But here's how they're talking about Trump and this meeting. And what they're talking about in Russia is sending their troops to Berlin, to Paris, to Lisbon. Watch this, and I'll tell my editors, just remove the chyron at the bottom so people can read the subtitles for this. Play this clip.
Трамп направил сообщение Зеленскому, призывая его начать обсуждение прекращения огня и отдачу всех оккупированных территорий. Эль-Паи со ссылкой на источник.
Вот. Но вот что меня тронуло...
Всех территорий мало.
В президентских словах, когда он отвечал корреспонденту о том, а что, а как, что он перестал смеяться.
Это да.
Помнишь? Да, там 2,5 миллиона обращений. Но человек перестал действительно смеяться. А мы по себе-то сами знаем. Мы утром просыпаемся и открываем быстрее, а где, а как, а что, а куда.
Не волнуйтесь, это да. Мы. Зато дикое количество граждан нашей страны ржет так, что остановить невозможно.
Ну, есть и такие. Но у меня эти слова
для которых
тронули.
Война только в телевизоре.
И я хотел бы поспорить с теми политологами, с теми экспертами, которые говорят, что нет, ни до чего мы не договоримся, никакие переговоры, ничего. Я так не считаю.
Речь же не об Украине.
Конечно.
Речь о новых правилах безопасности.
Да,
об этом и было наше послание декабря 2021 года.
Вот там можно и о стратегическом оружии, для того, чтобы возник интерес побольше у Америки. Можно поговорить и увязать. А почему нет?
Ну, во-первых, ясно, мы с вами должны понять, что такой нормы, как незыблемость границ, который пытались постулировать в Хельсинки, теперь выглядит глупостью. Ее нет. Опыт, который мы можем вынести из результатов итога Великой Отечественной войны, что договоренности выполняются только тогда, когда у тебя есть абсолютное оружие, и когда твои войска стоят,
Володя,
и твои войска стоят в Европе.
Я с тобой согласен.
Вот тогда все выполняют договоренности.
Я с тобой согласен. Но при этом я говорю, вот я тому же, вот сейчас говорил президент, с кем подписывать? Ну, наверное,
Правильно
с Верховной
сказал.
Радой, да. Да, но еще лучше, я говорю, соглашение надо заключать, пока есть такое окно возможностей с присутствием и с подписью Трампа.
Да-да, поэтому
если мы хотим его сделать серьезно...
Орешник и наши
так,
войска
вот
в Берлине, Париже, Лиссабоне.
И плюс Орешник, да.
О, вот, хорошо. И Лондон.
Это мы должны
Под
не
водой.
останавливаться, а делать, делать и делать.
So, do you see the tension that exists? And I think it's important that we look at the geopolitical forces that are at play, right? In the UK, for example, you have Elon Musk. It's being reported. Is he getting ready to potentially give $100 million to Nigel Farage again and to try to get him to attack the government there? How much money is being spent by right-wing forces in America internationally? I mean, you have Elon Musk and J.D. Vance. I did a whole video about this, giving very strong support, it seems, to the AfD, which is essentially like a neo-Nazi party in Germany. You know that terrorist attack that just happened at the Christmas event in Germany? Well, that AfD party in Germany was kind of an inspiration for the terrorists involved in that attack. And that AfD party is very closely linked with Vladimir Putin in Russia. It's Putin's preferred party there. They take trips to Russia, big supporters of Russia. They've said some heinous things. They've done some heinous stuff, that AfD party. They're so extreme. Even Le Pen's party in France, which is a far right-wing party, goes away. I don't know, AfD is a little bit too far for us even. And that's saying something, because Le Pen's party is very far right. But these issues are international in scope. So when you say, well, why is MeidasTouch focusing on coverage in Canada? Why are you focusing on coverage in the UK? Or why are you focusing on Mexico's politics? Why are you focusing on Australian politics and German politics? Because the threat is international in scope. And that's the game that Putin's been playing as well. But Putin's power's been weakening. And now what we're seeing, though, here is he's summoned Donald Trump. But we should take a lot of hope in what's happening in places like Georgia and Tbilisi. I'll just give you a quick update right now of some of the developments there. The president, who is the opposition leader there against the prime minister, the president is resisting Russian election interference in Georgia. Has gone out and said that she was prevented from delivering the speech that she wanted to give. But what she said is that either the Putin-backed regime compromises on new elections, or this crisis will deepen and the Putin-backed regime will collapse. According to her, the scenarios for new free and fair elections are already being drafted, but if the Putin-backed regime refuses new elections, there will be a council entrusted to take up the work. And the opposition party, the pro-democracy parties, called on everyone to get ready to persist and continue to protest. If new elections are refused and the regime collapses, and a regime collapse becomes inevitable. In particular, she expressed hope there will be resources to support the media that is struggling now. One of the things that the regime is using, they're called the Dream Party in Georgia, right? Very dystopian name, is they've got this massive propaganda arm. And this journalist, Marika Mishkavelli, says, disabling the regime propaganda hub is of the utmost importance. Essentially, the propaganda is the only thing that they have left. And you see the opposition leader right there. So you see the stakes going on here. You see why Putin's summoning Trump the way he is. You see when Trump's out there threatening our allies, Greenland, Denmark. Greenland's is a territory in the Kingdom of Denmark. We see him threatening Mexico, Canada, all of these allies. That just plays right into Putin's hand. One of the greatest things President Biden's done is strengthen our allies, bringing Finland and Sweden into NATO. It's a massive accomplishment, expanding the size of NATO. In President Biden's entire career, he worked to improve the strength of NATO. He knew exactly how to do it. And that's one of the things we have to focus on. Let's build this pro-democracy community nationwide. But I want to give you these touch points about what's going on in other countries. This is international in scope. And the pro-democracy community, we have to stand with our brothers and our sisters in countries across the world. We're in this together. We're in this with you, whether you're in America or in another country fighting for your democracy. We're in this together. Thank you for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.